All right. So, welcome. This is the City Council meeting for Minnetrista for May 2nd. It is 7 o'clock. I'm calling the meeting to order. Our first order of business is just a reminder, turn your cell phones on silent or airplane mode or off. And second, please join me for Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so first I'd like to make some introductions. We have staff with us this evening. We have Public Works Superintendent Gary Peters, City Clerk Don Motzko, and on the end, next to Councilmember Refkin, we have our City Engineer with WSB is Allison Fauski. Then we have council members present this evening, Kathleen Refkin, Ann McGregor, John Chamberlain is absent this evening, and then Pam Mortensen. I'm Lisa Whalen, I'm the mayor, and then next to me, we have Jasper Krugel, our administrator, and still new, I might say. And then Brian Grimm is our finance director. David Abel is our community development director. Saren Sansala is with us with Kennedy and Graven, our attorney. And then our chief of police, Paul Falls. So with that, are there any changes or additions to our agenda? Hearing none then, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Refkin. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. McGregor. Any further questions? All those in favor signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion passes 4-0. So next we'll move on to our consent agenda items. We don't have any special presentations tonight. We do have one persons to be heard, Mr. DeColius.
Didn't want you guys to go alone tonight. My name is Steve DeColius.
We love audiences. even if it's just one.
I live at 5415 Yellowstone Trail in Minnetrista. And I just wanted to compliment the team for the presentation on the 20th at the St. Bonifacius City Council meeting. I thought you guys did a great job.
Thank you very much. The other people, they're fine. Okay, thank you. It's nice to get attaboys once in a while. So with that, we'll move on to consent agenda items. Are there any you wish to remove? All right, so we have consent agenda items A, which is approve our work session meeting minutes from April 18th, 2022. B is approve our city council regular meeting minutes from April 18th, 2022. C is a resolution to approve our claims. D is a resolution to approve the master partnership agreement with the Minnesota Department of Transportation. E is a resolution to approve our 2022 arbitrage service consulting agreement. And F is a resolution to approve the preliminary plat of Swan Lake Estates. Is there a motion to approve consent agenda items A through F?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Refkin. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Mortensen. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion passes unanimously 4-0. So we'll move on to our public hearings. This evening we have 3 liquor licenses. One is for the West Tonka Recreation Association. The other one is for Burl Oaks Golf Club. And the other one is for Buddy Boy Fine Barbecue. I believe that's Ms. Motzko.
Yes, Madam Mayor and members of council. West Tonka Recreational Association is applying for a new on-sale liquor license. Burl Oaks and Cox Culinary Buddy Boy Barbecue will be renewing their liquor license for the 2022 to 2023 license period. The licenses are good for June 1st through May 31st. WRA is currently on a 3-2 beer license, but due to the limited supply, they are asking to have stronger beer on tap at the park. Burl Oaks is currently selling intoxicating liquor and a permit to sell on Sundays. Buddy Boy is selling intoxicating liquor, wine, and beer at the restaurant and attached patio. The city received all the applications, collected the fees, and have already completed the background checks, and they were all approved. if you have any questions.
None?
Okay.
All right.
No.
Seeing heads shaking. All right, so we, because they're liquor licenses, we do have to have a public hearing. We are going to combine all three public hearings. So I'm going to open up the public hearing. And if anybody is here to speak for or against any one of these, either the West Tonka Recreation Association liquor license, the Burl Oaks Golf Club liquor license, or the Buddy Boy Fine Barbecue liquor license, please do so at this time. I don't think anybody is here for that, so I am now going to close the public hearing and take it back to council. Is there a motion to approve all three liquor licenses as presented in your packet?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Mortensen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. McGregor. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion passes 4-0. That takes us on to our business items. So, first business item is approve our site plan for MI Homes, address to in our packet. All right. Well, at the Bellflower Drive. All right. David.
Yep. Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of council. As stated, M&I Homes has submitted an application for a site plan review for an additional swimming pool and facility within the Woodland Cove development. As noted in the report, City Code does require that a site plan review for all or new or major changes to an existing use be applied for and reviewed. As I said, there is an existing pool and facility. This is the second one. That was built and constructed in 2014, and this is an additional pool and facility that will be built in the southern portion of the development. It will be owned and maintained by the Master Homeowners Association once it's complete. As noted in the report, the proposal does conform with the allowed PUD setbacks, the height requirements, and it also meets the hardcover goals that are been established for the overall Woodland Cove development. The Planning Commission did review the site plan at their April 25th meeting, and they did recommend approval as presented with conditions as presented as well. I'll stand for any questions, and we do have a member from M&I Homes in the audience. Any questions?
I just have a question. So there's a lot of open space around there. What is that open space going to be eventually? Do you know? It just says open space.
Which page are you on?
Well, one of them is 76. I think there's more though.
Okay.
But if you just look at, I think the area that circular area is supposed to be a playground, and then all around there it's just blank. Is that going to be homes? Is it going to be?
No, that's part of the outlot. It'll be open. That's open space.
Okay.
It's part of the outlot that the pool will be located on.
Okay, all right.
I think it's too small. This pool is approximately 50% the size of the current one, which is very full. There's way less parking, and that parking lot is almost always full in the summer from families who drive down with their kids with all their pool gear. They do not walk, they drive. There's also golf carts in the neighborhood. Where are those going to be parked? I don't know if there's bike racks going in, but we need bike racks. The 3 bathrooms for 500 homes, 3 bathrooms, I don't think that's adequate. The current pool house has, I think, 5 or 6 in the women's. I haven't been in the men's. I'm assuming there's something similar. And I've been in there and they're all full. Everybody has been told there's going to be a second pool. It doesn't seem appropriate that the second pool is this much smaller than the current one. The current one is always full. It doesn't have to look pretty. It can be a big square. It's cut out with the L-shaped thing. It just seems to be a lot of open space instead of usable pool space for everybody. I just don't think it's adequate, and I don't think parking's adequate. I think you're gonna get a lot of people parking on the street, and the streets are narrow as it is, and it's just gonna be crowded and busy. I don't know what the max capacity for this pool is, but the current one's around 140. During COVID, we lowered it to 70 because of requirements, and when there were 70 people in that pool, that thing was full.
Mhm.
So, I'm not for this at all. And I was surprised that no one on the planning commission had concerns about it, considering 2 of them live in the neighborhood.
So I understand, and I mean, I was thinking the parking. I'm like, 11 stalls? Yes. So my question though is, and maybe Em and I can answer this, who's paying for this, I guess? That would be a good question. Do you know, David, or am I? Em and I?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, I'm Emily Becker with MI Homes, 5354 Parkdale Drive, Unit 100, St. Louis Park, 55416. We are doing a shared cost with the original developer of Woodland Cove in general. This was not part of the preliminary plan.
Right.
The original pool house was designed to meet the capacity or the needs of all 1,071 units within the entire development. This is just an added bonus. That was part of our purchase agreement with the original owner. So yeah, like I said, it's just an added bonus. It's not meant to be the same size as the existing pool and clubhouse. It's just meant to kind of take a little bit of burden off of that existing pool and clubhouse and just in a different area.
Who's the original owner?
It's Woodland Cove
LLC?
but yeah, I think
Is it
the name of the
Paul
company is
Robinson?
Carlson from.
Carlson?
Carlson,
yeah.
Carlson, okay.
Yeah.
And are the homeowners association themselves, are they participating or just Carlson?
Well, the homeowners association will be maintaining it.
Okay, but I'm
eventually.
saying in the build out.
We'll be paying for it in conjunction with Carlson.
Okay. Has there been any discussion with the Carlsons in terms of, with the Carlson company in order to make this larger?
We haven't discussed doing anything larger, again, just because the original.
No, I
pool
understand,
house was
right.
supposed to
Okay.
take care of the entire development.
And I understand we don't have a lot of wiggle room here, but I am concerned about the parking. I do know we have another large park in the community, and the parking issue was a huge issue, and so we added a large parking area, 11 stalls, and I was thinking the same thing. I do know a lot of people in this community, and actually the original owners, Paul Robinson, came in and asked us to amend our ordinance to allow golf carts. And so we do know there's a lot of golf carts that are being used in this community as well, and I agree with Kathleen, there's no parking. Do you have a time limit or time frame on this?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to start construction sometime in June, and we'd like to be done, complete by November
Right.
of this year.
Okay.
Obviously that's not gonna do the residents any good in November, but, I mean, from what I do understand is that the parking ordinance is met with what we've provided.
So, Sarah?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, I was just checking with Mr. Abel on the parking requirements. It sounds like for this size of facility that they do meet the city's parking requirements under the city code. So
Okay.
I'm not sure how the city could require them to do more than that
Right.
unless they're willing to do that.
I know that they meet the requirements. I get that. I am concerned about parking on the road. And again, I don't want to prohibit this project. I mean, I think, and that's not what Kathleen is doing either. We're glad that another pool is going in. I guess what I'm asking is if you could speak with, I don't know where we can go with this, but if you could speak with the Carlson Company or Paul Robinson, whoever is in charge, and see if more parking, at least more parking could be added, that would really be helpful. Because I know what will happen. Chief, do you want to weigh in on this? The parking, I think, is the safety issue, and that's my biggest concern.
Right, Mayor and Council, I think that's a good point. One of the concerns I think the council has and many of the residents is that we have a number of other areas in the city that had establishments put in, and then after the fact, that created a lot of safety issues because there wasn't enough parking. I can think of a couple of examples of that, and so the concern is that same issue would reoccur here. And so it's much more expensive to fix after the fact. So certainly from a public safety perspective, I would be concerned about only 11 spots as well. We want to get as many people off the main roadway as we can because that's just a disaster waiting to happen. So I certainly I don't know if the city can make you do anything, but going forward, if you could discuss that with the powers to be, that would be certainly our preference, that we do everything we can to avoid safety issues.
So maybe David and or Sarah weigh in here. What are our options here?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, I suppose you could, I don't know where we're at, 60-day rule, but you could ask them to come back with a revised plan for parking, but that's kind of up to them if they're willing to add more parking. So you could kind of take a wait and see approach and see if they're willing to add more parking and then approve it with a revised plan. Or you could approve it tonight with the condition that they, maybe consider adding more parking. Obviously, that's not enforceable. But if you were to send them back and do a revised plan, at least then maybe you could actually just approve that plan with the parking kind of cemented in if they agree to that.
Okay. Council?
Well, I value Kathleen's information. Thank you. She lives there and she has kids. I think that, in my opinion, I would like the builder to listen to the residents and at least take, this isn't gonna be done till November anyway. It's winter by then. So take the extra time and work with the residents on at least the parking and the bike ramp, and then come back for an approval.
Well, I think, so here's my suggestion. I'm guessing that, so the parking area is going to be last. It's the clubhouse and the pool that they're going to have to start on fairly soon if they want to get it done this season. So I would still say, fine, go ahead and do that, but really try and work on this parking. Work with the homeowners association as well as with the other entity so that we can get some more parking here, because quite honestly, it's going to become a huge issue and it's just going to have to be fixed later anyway. I don't think you want to do that.
Right.
So
What are the requirements for the bathrooms with relation to
that's a good
the
question.
people that will be using the pool area? Like, what's the max capacity for the pool?
I'm not sure the max capacity. I don't have that on hand right now. I know it is 1,500 square feet, but I don't know from a building code perspective what that is. I think it might be on the plans. I just don't have them right in front of me. But yeah, like I said, I do just know that and obviously they're gonna have to go through a review with the building official and ensure that everything's met with the building code.
Do we have a building code or a requirement for number of bathrooms per?
Well, it'd be Minnesota State Building Code.
Okay,
They'd be applied to.
all right. So depending on what the occupancy is of the building or of the pool?
Yeah, I think it's the occupancy of what the pool and the pool deck can hold. An architect drew this up.
Yeah.
So I would be 99.9% sure that it's meeting the requirements of the Minnesota State.
Minnesota
Building
State
Code.
Building Code?
Mhm.
Okay,
I don't have that off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
it's Minnesota State Building Code
Okay.
would be applied here.
I just
Okay.
don't like it. I don't think it's appropriate for the neighborhood, for what you're selling to the people that are moving in there. Everyone is talking about the new pool. You're putting this in a higher density area where the homes are closer, all those townhomes are there, and you're putting in something even smaller.
How much-
It actually wasn't a part of the original plans though. It's a new.
Right, but you've been selling it that it's coming.
Mhm.
So it's not whether or not it's part of the original plans, it's what you're selling people as they're buying in that area.
Okay. I understand.
How much say does the HOA have in this?
Not much, because right now the master is still owned by MI and the builders still own the master association.
Okay.
So there's the sub HOAs, but the one doing this is still the master, which is
Yeah.
owned by the builders.
And has the HOA reached out to, would it be Paul Robinson?
No, Paul,
Paul's
no,
gone.
he's
No.
no longer involved.
He's not there?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Have you reached out to Carlson at all? Do you know? The HOA?
The master doesn't necessarily care. They've listened to the single families and that, like they've added comments. My husband's on the single families HOA board.
Okay.
And he said, like, you need to put a bigger one in. They're just doing what they want. They don't have to listen to any of the homeowners
Oh.
because they still own the majority.
Well, I don't know, again, what Sarah was saying. What are our options? We can ask them to go back and try and provide another plan, but can we do that?
Madam Mayor, you could give them direction to, it sounds like you have some safety concerns about the parking. You could direct them to go back and see if they are willing to, it'd be up to them, to come back with a revised plan showing more parking and maybe work with city staff on what would be an appropriate amount of parking that the city would like to see.
Okay.
Obviously, they don't have to do that, so they may decide not to and bring the same plan back to you, but they might bring you back a revised plan.
Okay.
And at that point, you could approve the plan, and then it would be kind of cemented in then that they, you know, the resolution would say the city's approving these plans, so then they would be
Okay.
obligated to build the additional parking. Whereas right now, if you just say, we'd like you to work with them on, you know, the parking, then you
All
don't
right.
have anything really to hold them to if you approve it tonight without any change in the parking plans.
That's what I think we would like to do. And in the meantime, again, we can't force you to make that pool any larger, but if you could increase it, that would really be, I think, not only for your sales, but for the whole community. So I think we need, yes, please work with staff on what an appropriate amount of parking stalls, some,
What does, I guess my
Biking.
question to the council and the
Okay.
mayor would be, what are you looking for?
Okay.
I mean, they're meeting code, so I guess I'd like to get, it'd be good to get some clear direction on what you're looking for.
I have a question. How many parking stalls are there at the other clubhouse? Does anybody know?
I think Jasper looked it up. I think there's 87 or something.
Something like that.
We probably don't need that.
I have the plan, I could just, I don't know.
But he said 80, around 87, so, I would think, Chief, do you have any idea? I mean, what would be appropriate?
Madam Mayor and Council, I don't off the top of my head, I'm not familiar with this plan or this pool. I know it's coming, that's all I know. I'm not even familiar with the layout of the
Right.
streets in that area, so it's difficult for me to say. But certainly, anything we can do to get people to park off the roadway in a parking lot is a much safer scenario. And I think we've learned that over and over within other areas of the city, so.
Well, I would think at least maybe somewhere in the vicinity of 40, but because I do know some of the ones at the other clubhouse aren't always filled. The other thing that I think we could look at is possible not go-kart, I'm sorry, golf cart parking, which might save some space as well, but I do know that they use a lot of golf carts in this community, so that might be another option besides adding some more parking space. I don't know, maybe if it's 10 golf cart spaces and a total of 30 parking spaces, I think it's gonna go a long way.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if we're gonna be able to do 40, because that's, well, 40
Right.
is the amount that's provided. I mean, cost is in inflation.
I
obviously.
understand, right.
But we can certainly take a look.
Okay, and see if you can talk the powers that be into a little bit larger pool.
We can see what we can do.
Okay, all right. And we'll give you the pool house, how's that? In lieu of the other things, so, won't give it to you, but you can do the pool house as is. How's that? As long as it meets state code, so. All right, thank you very much, and we're looking forward to this addition.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, next, on the business item, we have approved professional services agreement for the St. Bonnie Water System Interconnect Study. So I'm gonna just start out real quick, and then I'm gonna hand it over to Jasper and over to Ms. Fauski here. So as Mr. DeColia has pointed out, there was Jasper, Gary, our Public Works Superintendent, our brand-new administrator, and he had only been on board for 10 days. 9 maybe even only, and myself. So we went to the meeting, we made our pitch, presented it, and they were open to that idea. When we were there was, I'm glad Gary was there because he was able to answer some of their questions that Public Works only knows. So thank you, Gary, you did a great job. Jasper did a great job on the presentation, and I think it looks very favorable. They did want us to do, so we have to do a mile high, if you will, look at our systems to see if they would work together, and that's what's before you here tonight. And then we'll talk about next steps, and we'll also talk about some other options that have been out there, you got the email. First of all, Jasper.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. Tonight, what you're looking at is just the general professional services agreement with WSB to perform an initial high-level review, working with the engineer group, Bolton and Mank from St. Bonifacius, to just kind of determine if this idea is feasible. If it is determined to be feasible, we'll report back to the group. And then at that point in time, we would have to engage in a conversation, agreement with St. Bonnie to develop, well, what are the next terms for developing engineering and things of that nature to see once what this will cost. That'll likely, and Allison can speak to this a little bit, probably more clearly, but that'll involve adding their system into our water model that we have right now. So there's some technical piece there. And then once that's determined, then what kind of system would we recommend having that would be able to have an interconnect that's metered. One thing I will note is that the metering is a requirement. Ms. Fauski did some research today and talked to the Minnesota Department of Health and got them to clarify that if it's a non-emergency connection, so right now we have an emergency connection, so if one of us run into trouble, we can open that up and help each other out. If it's a non-emergency connection, it's required by state statute to have a meter. So that's important because if it wasn't, we could just kind of operate it whenever we thought we needed it. But because we're kind of going from that emergency realm to the non-emergency realm, and it's just more of a partnership, that meter would be required. There'll be some costs. So what we're looking for tonight, and if I missed anything, Ms. Fauski, please fill us in. But what we're looking for tonight is just initial approval of the $3,000 for basically WSB to talk to Bolton and Mank, figure out if this is feasible, and then report back. And then if it is, then we would continue the conversation with St. Bonnie to see once if we can determine a cost share agreement or what the next steps are. As far as what they would be willing to incur for cost, what we would be willing to incur for cost, and determine what that is. So, and I think Allison, you may have some idea of what that next step might cost in general, but that'd be good.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Krugel. That was a very good explanation. I just want to clarify though, the requirement for the meter it's 10 state standards. So it's a design standard both for sewer and water in a 10-state area that includes Minnesota. And so we got that guidance today from the DNR. So if anybody's looking at state statutes trying to find that, it's not there. It's in the 10-state standards. But when we look at going beyond these initial conversations and look at how the systems would interact if the systems were interconnected, the challenge is taking a look at how the water tower elevations will influence each system, who's feeding who. Is St. Bonnie feeding Minnetrista, or is Minnetrista feeding St. Bonnie? The other component is looking at the direction of flow in the water mains when one city is pumping. And so they need to work through those components of analysis in order to find out, well, we don't want Minnetrista feeding St. Bonnie. St. Bonnie wants turnover in their system and trying to keep those separate. So they take all of those inputs. We would work with Bolton and Mank on that as a next step. And then also taking a look at a metering vault. And the reason we take a look at that is, the size of the piping that needs to go through the metering vault. There's check valves, there's gate valves, so that you can essentially gate valve off Minnetrista, so Minnetrista won't feed St. Bonnie, and under what scenario will we do that? So there's a lot of components to go into the next step, and so we would be talking about that with Bolton and Mank if council approves this first step here. And as far as cost goes, we probably, I just consulted with Greg Johnson today and clarified a few things for him, and so he's confident that we'll actually be under the $3,000 if council approves that tonight. And the next phase, we would be looking at $3,500 to go through those analysis. So that's what we'd be looking for future.
The other thing I just wanted to clarify too, so we're talking eventually, if this all works out, we would be adding 2 meters. One would be in Glacier Road and one would be on Highland, off of Highland. And the one off of Highland could be installed sooner because it's not in or under the road. But the one in Glacier, we couldn't install until next year. They are planning a road reconstruct of Glacier, and it would be at that time, it would be far less costly and no use putting it in now and then tearing up the road and redoing it. So that would go in next year. And St. Bonnie has already sent us a letter saying, this was before, saying that they're interested in potentially cost sharing those meter costs with us. So, and we can talk about those cost share details as we move along. But it sounds like either way, we have to put that meter in.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes, it would have to be metered.
okay. So, other questions? And it wasn't good conversation with St. Bonnie. I think they just misunderstood what our ask was. And I think once Jasper clarified it, and then some of their questions were answered, they were more than willing to explore the idea. So it sounds like it'll be if it all works out, it would really be a win-win situation for both Minnetrista and St. Bonnie, not only during the summer months, as we're projecting in the near future, but maybe even before we get our next treatment plant online, if need be. It might, of course, would help us out there as well. So with that, other questions? All right.
No, I just want to thank everybody that was involved in that meeting for taking a run at it, and thank you.
Well, Gary had a lot to do with that, and as did Jasper. So thank you very much. Gary did a lot of pre-legwork, so thank you, Gary. And Jasper for stepping in at being such a rookie. So nothing like starting your time here with us with fire. So is there a motion then to approve professional services agreement with WSB for the St. Bonnie Water System Interconnect Study?
So
Thank you, Kathleen. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ms. Mortensen. Any further question? Hearing none. All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes 4-0. So next we have our overlay pavement coring discussion. That is Ms. Bowski.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. At the last council meeting, when we took a look at the cores, I think that was helpful for everyone to kind of understand what we see when we take those pavement cores. And the council authorized WSB to go and take cores at Sunnybrook Drive and Sunnybrook Lane and Sunnybrook Circle as well. My apologies, I was missing Sunnybrook Circle in my council memo. Cores were taken on April 21st. And the analysis indicates that these roads are good candidates for a mill and overlay project, should the council wish to proceed with that. Just adjacent to, I believe it's Sunnybrook Lane, there are some pedestrian ramps that would need to be replaced as part of the American with Disabilities Act. So we included a high-level budget cost for pedestrian ramp replacement, should the council authorize proceeding with this project. We also just wanted to circle back to with the professional services thus far for what we were originally looking at for an overlay, Painters Road, Painters Creek, and Painters Creek Drive and Painters Circle. The survey work that we've obtained is something that we can keep on file when the time comes to go and do a project out there, and we can still meet the professional fees for preparing the plans and specifications for Sunnybrook Drive and Sunnybrook Lane. Should the council wish to do that this evening, and then we're also below the projected budget for the mill and overlay. We anticipate that it would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $261,000, which is $165,000 below the estimate that we were thinking for the Painters Road area. So things are lining up well to get this. Talking to Adam, we can get going on those plans because it's fairly straightforward. Public Works has already been out there to do the curb work, And so that certainly takes a component out of the preparations of plans and specs when we don't have to identify those components. And we're expecting to turn around and bring some plans back here in May yet for the council to consider approving and authorizing ad for bid for that. So.
When you go out for plans and specs or for bids, I want to make it clear we don't want to be doing this in November. So will it be clear that they have to finish this in October, no later than October?
Yes, we'll include the time of completion in the specifications.
What is your projected time of completion? Do you know?
We usually put, I think for this one, we could probably go, we usually do October 31st for final wear course. We can pull that back a little bit if we think winter's going to come early.
Okay.
But if we can leave a nice big window of opportunity, this is a nice project for a paving contractor to come in when they have a couple days. And it's not really intrusive for the neighborhood, so
Mhm.
you can still drive over it. So it's a nice area to give them a quick heads up.
Yeah. I just don't want to do it when it gets cold. That becomes an issue. So, all right. Okay. Council, questions? Comments? Do you want to do it? All right. All right. So then I'm looking for a motion to authorize plans and preparation of plans and specifications for the mill and overlay of Sunnybrook Drive and Sunnybrook Lane, which would be project number 03-22.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Gregor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Mortensen. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify with aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion passes 4-0. And then I understand we'll be looking at, when will we look at that road we were talking about in our work session? In June, you thought? The 3-year plan?
Oh, yes, hopefully by the strategic planning session on June 20th,
Okay, and
we'll
then-
have something.
And then will we be looking at the mill and overlays that we're doing next year at that same time? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. Thank you. So we will move on to staff reports. We'll start with Mr. Jasper.
Madam Mayor, members of City Council, I have, I think, kind of a lengthy update today. Talking about a few things, just an irrigation reminder. So there's water restrictions are now on. So we're on phase 1. You might have seen in the flyer that went out the different phases. So phase 1 is just normal operations. So that's odd houses, water on odd days, and even houses, water on even days. Our CSO is out enforcing that. Not too much watering going on yet. We've had quite a bit of rain. So if we'd ever move to phase 2, that would be strictly related to the amount of water in our water tower related to fire suppression needs. And that process would be initiated by our public works superintendent and that'd be initiated by Gary and myself, we'll just say. And that schedule, just so everybody's aware, and this has been communicated, is odd numbered houses would then water on Sunday and Thursday. Even numbered houses would water on Wednesday and Saturday. And there wouldn't be any watering on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. And this would be citywide. And the reason why there isn't different areas of the city based on, maybe quadrants or something like that, is that's very challenging to enforce. And we feel that this kind of program would alleviate the problems that we would see if we'd ever have to move into that phase 2.
And then the hours?
Oh.
Hours of sprinkling?
I don't have that in front of me.
Thought that there's hours. Gary?
What's that?
The hours of irrigation are what? At 6 to 10 a.m.?
10 to.
10 to, do you remember?
6 or 8. She's looking for her.
Okay. I just think it's important because there's also
There are.
hours where you can irrigate. So, and I think it's in the mornings.
We water overnight.
It's mostly you don't water during the
During the
heat
day.
of the day.
Okay.
So it's
you can't be or something.
Okay.
correct. Yeah, I'm not sure what those are.
Okay. I'm sorry.
She can't get it back.
All right.
We'll circle back
We'll
on that.
circle back. Thank you. I'm sorry to throw a
Yeah.
wrench in his. Okay.
And then phase 3 is the watering ban. So that just means no watering at all. So hopefully we don't get to that point. Next, we have the sod seeding ordinance went into effect. That was an ordinance that was recently passed. A letter was sent out to the builders in the community describing the ordinance. It's tied to the U.S. Drought Monitor, so if you Google U.S. Drought Monitor, you can see if we're in a drought or not. We're not currently in a drought, but if we would, sodding and seeding would be restricted if we were in a severe, an extreme, or an exceptional drought. So that goes from not as bad to worse. And then that drought index, just for a note, it's released every Thursday of the week. So quick update is some conversations about Juneteenth have come up. We're following the direction of the city council previously with following the state legislature. They haven't adopted that, so we haven't adopted it as a city yet. So if that happens in the 2022 legislative session, it'll likely happen after Juneteenth. So it wouldn't go into effect until 2023.
And we would have a discussion before then.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we would officially adopt that via resolution to adopt that as a holiday for us.
Okay.
Just some personnel updates since Allie is not here with us tonight. Police officer candidate Johnson successfully completed his psych evaluation and will be moving forward into the final step of the pre-employment process. So that's good news. The other officer and CSO candidate are in the backgrounding process. The full-time public works maintenance worker position has been posted, so we're collecting applications for that. And then interviews for the seasonal public works maintenance workers are happening as the applications come in. So as we receive those, we're interviewing people. A little Lake Minnetonka Conservation District update. So they approved the Quiet Waters designation off of Cedar Point West. So that was officially approved. Buoys will be provided by the county. It appears there will be no costs incurred by LMCD or the city for this, so that's good news. In the letter that Mayor Whalen and City Council provided influenced in getting the approval. So it's good work. Events that we have coming up. The next City Council meeting is May 16th. We will have a special guest. Hennepin County Commissioner Kevin Anderson will be here to do a presentation, short presentation. The town hall on water conservation measures, water infrastructure update is tomorrow here in the council chambers at 6:30. So if you can make it, we do have some good guests coming from the DNR and from the University of Minnesota, along with all of our staff and most of city council, I believe. Recycle Cleanup Day is on May 14th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. There's info on the website. Trista Day is on Saturday, May 21st from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Again, the Mound Fire Department has a fish fry and dance on June 4th. And then also I wanted to make a note, the League of Minnesota Cities Conference up in Duluth is coming up on June 22nd. I will be attending. I believe Mayor Whalen will be attending. If any of the other council members would like to attend, let me know, and I can get you registered. If you want more information, just let me know too, and I can send it. It's a pretty good event. A lot of elected officials go to that. I believe it's June 22nd, 23rd, and 24th.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have to go to all of it if you didn't want to.
Yep. That's all I have. Thank you.
Any other staff updates? All right, I'll start. So yeah, I'll be attending the league conference in June, so looking forward to that. They have not had one for a couple of years. Don't forget, I'm assuming all of you ladies going to be there tomorrow? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. I don't know if Mr. Chumperland will be. I know he's having some health issues. And then attended a number of different meetings. We met with, I wanted to introduce and have more of a one-on-one with Jasper and our fire chiefs to have him kind of get to know them, and also then with our school superintendent, both in Waconia and with the West Tonka one, especially with the West Tonka, since we have Public Works and police that work closely with them. And I wanted to report back that Superintendent Borg had nothing but good, wonderful things to say about our police department and the relationship and working condition with you, as well as with Gary and your crew. You guys do a fantastic job for them. So thank you very much. Keep up the good work. And then that's about it. I'll be attending Northwest League this month. And that's it. Passing it on.
I don't have anything other than I'll be attending the meeting tomorrow evening for the town hall meeting.
Okay, I attended the West Tonka Community and Commerce meeting, and they had a very lengthy presentation from someone from Hennepin County. I have her name, and apparently Hennepin County for free will provide an incredible. I'm surprised at how much depth there is to it. Entrepreneurial help for anybody who wants to start a business.
Oh,
And they provide everything from the very basics all the way up to, but not including funding.
okay.
And so it's all free. And the person who presented basically said that was how she got started, and she had her own business, and it was a great help. So that looks like it's really good.
Good.
And then
And if somebody wanted to take advantage of that, who do they call? What's the
they can
name?
go onto the site
Okay.
for Hennepin County, and I can't remember, it's entrepreneurial services. I don't have that with me right now.
Okay. It could be jobs or something. I mean, yeah. Okay.
No, I think it actually is something like entrepreneurial services.
Okay. All right.
And then I believe it's the Crime Prevention Fund people that presented saying that they have the golf tournament on June 3rd.
Oh,
And
good.
they
Yeah.
encouraged everybody at all levels of golf skill.
Except for those that don't know how to golf.
So that was fun. That's it for me.
I think that's June 13th, right? Is that the
June.
date?
I looked and I was wrong. It is June 13th.
June
13th.
13th.
Okay, June 13th. And if they want to participate, how do they sign up?
They can
Chief?
go to the, I'm gonna put my
Okay.
glasses on for this.
Okay.
Crime prevention or crimepreventionfund.org.
Yes.
Okay.
Or
Thank you for
they
that
can stop by the police department and we have all kinds of information for them.
Okay. All
Either
right.
way.
Good.
Thank you.
And if I may, that website is Hennepin County Economic Development. It's called Elevate Business HC.
Thank you.
Okay.
And then one last thing.
Yes.
The watering, you can do it. The ban is from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day. So
Water
you
before
can't.
10 a.m. after 6 p.m. So you're not wasting a drink.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
After 6 p.m. and before 10 a.m.
Yep,
There you go.
Correct. Yep.
Not the other way around.
yeah.
Thank you. All right. And thanks, Ms. McGregor. Ms. Refkin?
I attended the planning commission last week. We talked about the Rainbow Road Swan Lakes Preserve and then the Woodland Cove Pool. And then I also attended the Mound Fire meeting on April 20th with Jasper. As you said, the Fish Fry and Dance returns on June 4th. Meetings for the Fire Commission and Mound are going to be moved to Thursday mornings at 8. So Mayor Salazar and Mound will be able to attend, and a couple of the other new members. They had conflicts for Wednesday afternoons. 2021 had a higher call volume, which was expected. It's 10% overall increase from the year before. They're averaging 18 to 19 firefighters per call. People are home, they respond more because of COVID still, they're working from home, so they get there. In 2021, the volunteer hours were 18,391. Minnetrista had 117 calls, which amounted to 1,979 of those hours. The rescue calls are much, much greater than fire calls.
Yeah.
A lot of lift assist still, medical responses. Mound Fire is also doing a lot of mutual aid. They do not need the mutual aid. They are helping other neighboring communities, which they have to do based on a Hennepin County contract. Chief did say Long Lake and Orono have the most requests right now. They are not applying for any grants in 2022 simply because the number one items listed for the grants aren't anything they need. So there's no point in applying if you don't have the number one item. The pumper truck was ordered last year based on the bonding. Hopefully it'll be delivered by late 2022, but very likely early 2023. He did say had they waited, it would cost about $100,000 more. St. Bonnie went to get price quotes for the exact same one, and it was $775,000.
Right.
So timing is everything. The duty truck is here. It's in service. They sold the old one to St. Bonnie. The duty program is going great. 40 hours on the weekends and then 40 hours during the week. The duty officer has answered 316 calls in 2021. They ordered 25 new sets of gear the week before the meeting, so the week of April 11th, which cost $95,000. This way, every firefighter has 2 good sets. So if they go to a call, they can then wash the set they wore and still have a good one in their lockers for them to use next time. The Assistant Chief Andy Drilling was Mound Firefighter of the Year for 2021. Our next meeting will be June 9th at 8 a.m. and that'll go over the 2021 finances and begin 2023 budget discussions. That's making up for the meeting that was canceled in January due to some conflicts. And they discuss likely they'll be asking for pension benefit increase. It's been $635 a monthly payout now for the last 3 years. So
Yeah.
we talk about increasing that. And 2022, 2023 will be Mound Fire's 100th year, so they're going to do something special next year. Any questions?
It's always so thorough, so.
I was thinking we were
Very
talking
comprehensive.
fire, I was maybe just gonna add it, did everyone see in the info packet about the St. Bonnie portion, or our portion of the St. Bonnie fire going up about 4,000 due to their year-end audit and stuff, so figured.
Well, it's
it was
our
just
growth too.
It's our growth, so number of calls, that is
Yeah.
more in Minnetrista than
Right.
St. Bonnie, so.
Yeah.
But
But they started their duty program, so that's really good.
Yep.
Excited to hear that, so, great. All right, any other reports or anything else?
Gary, is everything good with the treatment plant, the polymer stuff? Polymer pump?
Yes, we're running about, like Mike just said, it was like 980 gallons a minute. So we're almost at full capacity. So we have 2 leaking check valves we have to replace. Tomorrow we'll be doing some, replacing some inside internal sampling filters. So, but otherwise, yeah, it's running, the polymer's running at a real low rate, but it seems to be working.
Good to hear that, yeah. All right, with that, there's a motion to adjourn, we can all go home.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Refkin, is there a second?
Second.
Ms. McGregor made that second, all those in favor signify with aye. Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, ladies.